All right, back with the round table. So what's your so we had time to sleep on it and everything now. So how you feeling about yesterday's decision, Zone?
Well, I think I'm impressed that Errol Spence was able to grab the accomplishment part of being a welterweight. Kell Brook was a highly ranked welterweight, had a couple of defenses under his belt. He had the UK market behind him. And I feel that for the marketing, the credit for the accolades, I think Errol Spence did a very good job, and he had made it conclusive. Stylistically, I'm still not impressed. I've been saying from the jump that the guy's an African-American slugger. He has a decent jab in the middle of the ring when he's fighting in the middle of the ring, but he's terrible in the middle of the ring. He do a lot of damage by breaking you down and getting you to the ropes. And what's crazy about it, I learned that he can be pushed back too, which I suspected, but I had to see it. I mean, you could push him back not just with strength. You could push him back with speed and just combination punching.
Yeah.
So that's a big wrinkle in this game, man.
Yeah. The one thing I did notice, man, Kell Brook didn't really look sharp to me. And maybe that's just testament to Spence. But the version of Kell Brook that I seen yesterday didn't look. I'm not gonna say. I mean, I haven't seen Brook fight a whole lot, but he just wasn't giving back what I expected to see out of Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's all credit to Spence. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he looks going forward with the rest of these welterweights. Obviously, we know the fight that we want to see. And if he wants to take, and we hope that he takes an interim fight while, Keith Thurman healed from his injury. So maybe he will fight Sean Porter or Danny Garcia or something.
I would like to see the Sean Porter fight. I would take a Collazo fight. That'd be an interesting one against Southpaw versus Southpaw. Collazo's he's a little tough. And he's coming off an impressive knockout win over Vasquez. So I wouldn't mind seeing Collazo versus Spence. I would prefer a Sean Porter because Sean Porter is ranked right under him. And when, like we speaking of Keith Thurman, when Keith Thurman returns, hopefully he'll be in line and he can get a warm-up fight. But a semi-dangerous fight against Lamont Peterson and clear that out the way so them two can be free to fight. Because I don't see Danny Garcia with his temperament. I don't see him as the type of fighter that'll interrupt anything that's going on. He seems like he probably want to take like a little layoff anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, you're right. I totally agree, man. You know what, man? I like I say, man, it was. I was so happy that it was a good fight, and it definitely has brought a lot more interest back into the welterweight division. We really got a big fight to look forward to now. Like, I think him and Keith Thurman is gonna be because we got plenty of time to talk about this shit now. I mean, we know it's got to happen. It ain't nobody can get around this shit. He's calling them out. Keith Thurman saying the right thing right now. So we got a lot of time to build this one up, man. You know what I'm saying? So this gonna be fun. This one gonna be fun right here, boy. This gonna be fun.
Yeah.
My thoughts on it is, I give Errol Spence the most credit for going over there fighting in the UK. He traveled, which we always like to see guys travel. He not only traveled, he was successful. He became a champion. He went from a challenger to a champion. I'm not the one that say, okay, I wasn't, the one in Errol Spence's corner to say he's going to win this fight. The head breakdown is Kell Brook. I had Kell Brook winning the fight. And if I had a choice, I choose Kell Brook to win the fight. I wanted Errol Spence to win the fight for the reason of I just wanted I wanted Keith Thurman to get that scalp. I just wanted Keith Thurman to get that scalp. You can say whatever you want to say about it. But anyway, it showed me in the fight against Kell Brook that Errol Spence likes to compete. When it was time to fight, he was ready to fight. And I always say, kind of look at a fighter. If you want to see a fighter, you're gonna see if he's gonna go a long way or have some longevity or have some success in boxing. You gotta have a fighter. You gotta see if a fighter wants to fight in the moments when you need to fight. Mm-hmm. Some guys don't want to fight when it's time to fight. They all right. They all right sitting back and having a rhythm when things are going right for them. But when you have to fight, then that's when show me that you got some grit, that you got some toughness, that you got some mental toughness to go on in this boxing game. So he showed that. Now, he confirmed some things and he left some things out there which he did not get better at. He did not get better at fighting and being busy in the center of the ring. And I thought when Brooke threw more than 2 punches, he kind of shelled up. He shelled up when Brooke was throwing more than 2 punches. And I thought if Brooke could have threw some combinations, I thought Brooke would have had more success. And I thought Brooke would have been able to keep Spence at bay. He was keeping Spence at bay with the jab, but it was only a single jab. And throughout the fight, I seen Kell Brook round about 4 or 5. I seen that his stamina was going down. He was still fighting. He was still being effective. He was still winning rounds. But his stamina was going down. Errol Spence started to doubt himself. And in the moments when he doubted himself, Kell Brook did not step on the gas. He didn't step on the gas. And, you know, it's credit. You got to give all credit to Errol Spence. So now that he's graduated from being a prospect to a champion, now I have to see him face Keith Thurman, which Keith Thurman to me is still a class of the division. I already knew the winner of this fight, everybody was going to say that fighter was going to be Keith Thurman, whether it was going to be Kell Brook or Errol Spence. So Keith Thurman was always going to be the underdog in many people's eyes. So Keith Thurman is still the class of the division. He's still the #1 welterweight. Right. Now let me see what he's going to do versus a guy which I know for one is not going to break down physically wise. 2, he don't have the psychological damage of getting destroyed and getting his orbital bone broken in the fight before. 3, a guy who I know throws vicious combinations with power and has a great jab and moves around in the ring when he needs to move around and effectively can still fight off his back foot. So I want to see that fight, which I still favor Keith Thurman to win the fight, but I want to see that fight immediately. If I can't see that fight immediately, I would like to see him fight somebody like a Sean Porter.
All right, so would you consider, at least in terms of Errol Spence, are these all or should be all legacy fights from here on out for him?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, the same thing applied to all of the champions in this new year of boxing that's been good. Ain't nothing that Keith Thurman shouldn't be fighting nothing but legacy fights, which he has been. So that's why I say Lamont Peterson for Thurman if possible, and then a Spence fight if he needs some kind of tune-up. And if Errol Spence has to satisfy mandatory, I only say Collazo because he's ranked in the IBF, and I take that because it's a former world champion, and it's a comparison victory to Keith Thurman. But I would definitely just go ahead and love to see Sean Porter get another title shot, man, because I don't want Sean Porter lingering around acting like he need another title shot. If he's going to get it, he need to go ahead and get it against Spence right now, man, in the middle of all this. That way we can see if he's going to either become a champion again or he's going to lose yet another title fight.
Right. Fall in the trifecta. He would have lost in all 3 of his big title championship, title fights. You know what I'm saying? He would have lost to the trifecta.
Except for Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Except for Pacquiao. He'll be on loss to Thurman, lost to Brooke, and then he'll be on loss to Errol Spence if he loses.
Right. So that'd be
enough
for him. That'd be enough for him. Yep.
Yeah.
What about? I mean, I know yesterday you said that you think Brooke is done, probably should retire. So let's just play matchmaker for a minute. And how could you see Kell Brook repairing or rebuilding his career? What path would you say him to take in maybe 2 or 3 fights for Kell Brook to repair his career? Boxing talk.
Well, if you want to ask me, I think he should retire because, for one, I don't think he can make 147 and be effective all 12 rounds. I think right now he's probably a 6-round fighter. If he can't do damage to his opponent at the elite level, I don't think he's going to be able to win the fight. I think I think physically going up to 160. See what happened when he went up to 160. Not only did he go up to 160, he was very muscular at 160. You don't see an ounce of fat on him at 160. Like when some guys move up, sometimes you'll see fat around the belly or something like that. Like, oh yeah, he moved up and I can see the extra weight right there. You didn't see anything. Came down. See, this is why his other eye got messed up. What I think the elastic of his skin, when he lost that weight, his skin started drooping. Now his skin is much more thinner. Now he's gonna always have problems with his getting cuts now because he went up in weight. He fluctuated up in weight too much.
So you saying he didn't have the elasticity in his skin and in his face? No, I'm saying in his face. Therefore, it was much tighter because he didn't have that extra little layer of what you would, I guess you would say, fat around his,
I can see that. I can see that.
Is that what you're saying?
He didn't have it. Because the same thing happened to Roy Jones. After Roy Jones went up to heavyweight and came back down, Roy Jones started getting cuts on his eye. He started getting cuts on his eyes. His eyes started swelling up more. So, and I don't think he can go to 154 because I don't think he can beat some of those guys at 150. Like, to me, at this point in Brooke's career, Brooke is not a young fighter. He's an accomplished fighter that already accomplished things. Now, one thing about being in the sport of boxing, you don't want to be in the sport just to be in the sport and you don't have no desire to be the best at it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he has a desire, or maybe the physical trait of his body doesn't have the will to be the best at 147. He can't be the best at 147. He's not going to beat Keith Thurman. To me, Keith Thurman beats him worse because Keith Thurman will be able to throw more and land more punches on him. So he will swell faster against Keith Thurman.
So you see,
John Porter is too physical on the inside, so that'll be a disaster. So to me, I think he should have that little fight with Amir Khan at 154, and then right off to the sunset.
All right, you don't see him. All right, I mean, I guess there's a couple of names he might be able to fight, and you don't see him possibly beating Liam Smith or I don't know.
Yeah, look, what you just did was the truth. You just said, I don't know, because what's going to come to your mind is this guy in his eye, man. Like B-Talk said, B-Talk broke it down perfectly, man. I got to agree with him. And he said something that I didn't think. Kell Brook is a 6-round fighter now at this point. And he is used to being comfortable with stopping the fight in regards to his health. See, so that tells me that if you get a cut, if you get hit in the stomach a little too hard, you're going to bank it on, in your mind, psychologically, that you're looking out for your well-being, your health, and it ain't worth it no more. So that means he got to be a guy in charge. He got to completely dominate you now at this point for him to finish a fight, or he has to be way above you in class for him to fight you, which is unacceptable because he can't go and fight. He's already beat Bijer. He's already beat the Frankie Gavins. Keith Thurman's cleaned up the other guys. The Algiers been cleaned up by Errol Spence. There's nothing left but tough fights. Nobody wants to see like the Constantine fight. He could do that. He could do Bradley Skeet, but that's gonna have to stay over there in the UK.
Yeah,
and he's going to be on AJ's undercard.
Right.
Yep. And for the guy to put some, to put some money in his pocket, you know what I'm saying, and don't have no high risk type of fight. His last cash out
is Amir Khan.
Maybe a safe fight outside of Amir Khan. a good safe fight, because this fighter is also welted real bad, and he can fight him at 154, would be Miguel Cotto.
Okay.
But
that's a good one. Yeah.
But Cotto still got thudding power. I mean, Cotto welts, but he still has thudding power, man, and he has a great vicious attack. So those two will be interesting to see against each other. Maybe he can fight James Kirkland at 154. Kirkland would be a good one for Kell Brook. You know,
we at least got to talk about niggas who've been fighting in the last 3 years. That nigga ain't fought since 2015.
Man, I can't get it, dude. I can't give him nothing. Jesse Vargas, man, Jesse Vargas might kill this kid, man. I guess we could say Saddam Ali then. I guess Brooke versus Saddam Ali would be a good one.
Well, you know, obviously we have no idea which direction his career is gonna go. You know, I was just saying and wondering, is there even a career path that he could, not necessarily fights that you would say or even pick him to win, but in order for him to get back into the mix, what fights would he have to take and win? You know, could he go rematch Sean Porter and beat Sean Porter? Would that put him back in the mix, or would that be a good win for him?
See, that's the thing.
You know,
that's $1 million question. See, the fight that's gonna put him back into contention are the fights, to me,
that he's gonna lose. Yeah. No, I got you.
Right.
No, listen. Yeah. I understand him and his inability to possibly win the fights, but just the path. What path could he even take? Granted that he would win. I mean, we know that the chances of him winning, I mean, we ain't got to really go into him winning. You know, could he fight to even get back in, you know, after coming off the back-to-back losses? You know what I'm saying? Kind of like same thing with like Americana. You know what I'm saying? Is there a path for him? You know, because
no.
I don't see the fight. I don't see the fight. I don't see him.
Well, shit, like, cause to me now that when I really think about it, it only make perfect sense for him and Americana to fight now, because both of them niggas got a little bit to gain and not nothing else to fucking lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go no lower than what the fuck both of them niggas is now. You both come off stop losses, and Americana ain't really beat nobody of real subsequence in years either. Y'all niggas been talking about fighting all of these years. That's the only fight that really either one of them niggas could really have that the UK people gonna give a fuck enough about that it might make us care about it a little bit. But I can't really see neither one of them niggas having a fight that us over here gonna really care about.
Right, because they're in that category no different from like our Devin Alexander. You got Devin Alexander, Soto Karass, Kell Brook, and Khan now that are in that dumpish type of, like, they're in the weird space right now.
The loser brackets and shit. Yeah.
And it's a terrible loser bracket. Because, see, Jesse Vargas is in the loser bracket, but you still feel that Jesse Vargas has potential. Sean Porter's been in the loser bracket, but you still feel that he has potential.
Right.
When it comes to Devin Alexander, who people seem to forget about, he seems punch drunk. Adrian Broner is spiraling out of control. You never know what you're gonna get from him. Him and Victor Ortiz is done. So these guys are in the dump. I mean, that's it. It ain't nothing left but Pacquiao, Errol Spence, and Keith Thurman. I mean, now you go get to it, you got Sean Porter, you got Danny Garcia, and you might have a Jeff Horn that could come up in the Avenetian. But all in all, man, that's it. The picture looking real clear.
Yeah, unless Jeff Horn pull off a miracle, and actually, and to be all honest, man, I'm hoping that he does, because as far as I know about Jeff Horn, he ain't necessarily affiliated with either of the opposing sides. So if Jeff Horn was to win, I think we can get a lot of fights with Jeff Horn on either side. You know what I'm saying? You could, if Pacquiao could fight him, there's no reason that I couldn't see Terrence Crawford fighting him, or Keith Thurman, or Sean Porter, or Errol Spence. So that definitely would absolutely re-energize and reboot the whole welterweight division if he was to pull the upset and knock Pacquiao off. That shit would be fantabulous.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice for the fucking man. That should have had the game perfect.
Right.
Like that, especially at welterweight. That should be perfect, bro.
Yeah, because now we'll have a new player, and Jeff Horn is undefeated, correct?
Right.
Jeff Horn is undefeated.
Right. And he's a lot younger, if I'm not mistaken.
And that'll lift that WBO off the top ranked side of the house. And I'm quite sure that, you know, Terrence Crawford will be on the way as well, too. That's something that's starting to build up. Once he fight Ndongo, man, that's it. I think he don't need to defend it, the undisputed crown, just get it and go to welterweight. That's what it. Either way it go, I believe that Terrence Crawford at this point, in my opinion, if Pacquiao beat Jeff Horn, okay, and I think that if Crawford was to beat Ndongo and be undisputed, I believe that we will see Terrence Crawford versus Pacquiao, and I think Terrence Crawford would beat him.
So you see Terrence Crawford faring well against the likes of Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence. You see him faring well.
Yeah, that Diaz fight, man. He just showed me that enough is enough, and he's on a different level, man. He's a menacing fighter that don't give two fucks.